Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
The post-Civil War landscape of the American West offers escape and opportunities to many new immigrants who come to the country's shore. A few of them brave the journey to the camp town of Missouri Crossing, each looking for a new lease on life in the Dakota territories. Join the settlers of Missouri Crossing, including Gregory Smith, played by Joaquin, Sister Margaret Miller, played by Monica, Bjorn Hagman, played by Chris, and Craig as the keeper of arcane lore, as we explore the horrors that await us on Down Darker Trails. So as the sun sets, the women all end up sharing the bed in the Burgess house while the men basically put down padding and take up residence in the barn. Gregory, you kind of like stay out as a sentry, but do you want to stay out the whole night, or do you want to come in at some point? Is there ever a point where you feel like you're safe enough to come in and sleep?
I think definitely he will take like first watch ish, and then I'm guessing at some point he'll probably wake someone else up just probably make arrangements I do want to get some sleep at some point, so probably wake someone up to take the next shift, I guess.
Yeah, at some point you see one of the cowpokes walking out to kind of take over watching the herd, and seems kind of surprised to see that you're still out. So he kind of basically says that, "Oh, don't worry, sir. No one's going to take your wagon. I'll make sure."
Well, I have reason to be worried.
I'm sure, but I mean, we came through this far and we're so close. So just get some sleep, sir.
All right. Yeah, and then he'll sort of toss and turn for a bit, then finally just sort of pass out.
Yeah, you kind of find like a big pile of hay and throw a wool blanket over yourself, and then before you just drift off, and you don't even remember like lying there at all. There's no tossing and turning. You just sleep straight on through, and you're not woken until you see sun coming through the gaps in the wood of the barn, and kind of makes a vertical line across your face. But even though you're sleeping on the floor in a big pile of hay, it's probably the best sleep you had in months. And in fact, all of you feel like you had a very nice sanity restoring rest, and the hospitality provided by the Burgess family just mixed with the sense of finally making it just kind of refreshes everyone. So at this point we get to roll some dice. So everyone's going to gain 1d6 points of sand and 1d10 points of luck for finally making it to the destination. So if you guys can roll that now, that's 1d6 for sand and 1d10 for luck.
I got a 6 for the sand. Yes, I'm finally making some progress back.
I got a 2 for the sanity.
I got 2 sanity and 2 luck.
Got a 4 for the luck, so that should put me at 94 luck. I gotta spend some of that next time. I'm going crazy.
I got a 10 for luck, so that brings me up to 55.
And makes you the lucky dog now. So you don't really stay much longer because you wanted to get a early start on the day. After gathering the horses to ride into camp, there's not much to go. Russ and Sam kind of make arrangements with Bill Burgess to leave the cattle here for a while, along with a couple of the cowherds to kind of keep an eye on them, because it doesn't make sense to drive the cattle into town right now. So a lot of you kind of mount up and make your way towards the small little settlement in front of you. So you're riding through and you're cresting hills, and there are these gently rolling hills. So you get to the top of one, then you kind of look down and you see these really tall willow trees growing by the river. They must be ancient. You have the fresh smell of pine trees and mud. You see a scattering of sod homes on the way into camp. A few permanent wooden structures stand out prominently from the rest of the canvas tents and wagons arranged almost like they're forming a proto main street in the distance. several wooden skeletons of buildings that are still under construction, and they dot the beginning of the main street. And like Bjorn, as you're kind of astride Payday, Father Noah comes up behind you. He's now riding one of the mules, and he breaks the silence. Well, my son, we made it.
I look over and I'm like, that we did, Father, that we did. What's your first order of business?
Well, we need to definitely find a temporary spot to make some sort of camp or at least housing structure. But, a physical presence is something. Tell me, son, do you know what thigmotaxis is?
I'm not familiar.
Well, and he kind of like cocks his head slightly as if he's like getting ready to recite. It says thigmotaxis. It's a term for motion or orientation of an organism in response to touch stimuli. But for humans, it's basically the desire to be near a wall. Do you ever realize that you feel more comfortable when you're like walking along a wall?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
And then he extends his arms and points down where you could see the buildings starting to pop up, and they're interspersed with tents. And it says, look here, take notice, like even on the most frontier of all settlements, like even those few buildings and tents are starting to make lines and rows in the ground. These lines will soon become streets, and these streets will form grids, and from these grids will form communities. And that's our first order of business, I think.
I think you're right, but you bring up a good point. I kind of just look out for a second, and then I'm like, look forward, and I say, doesn't it concern you a little that you're the first man of the cloth to be here?
Someone had to be first.
You're correct. But also there's no lawman here either. Doesn't that concern you also?
Well, we do have the law of God, which even those without faith, most of them still follow it, whether they consider it a conscience or something. That's something we could build off of.
I think so. Good intentions, though. But, Father, I think you are becoming into some influence that you're probably not aware that you've had in cities like we came from.
What do you mean?
Well, I think there's, like you said, there's probably going to be a lot of people who are yearning for a man of the cloth here. New families, like Mr. Smiths, who are coming here. But also you got to realize the people that were here before us, they might not be the type that are yearning for the cloth.
Well, at the very least, there can't be much as far as things to do or entertainment around here.
Oh.
So banking on the novelty act for a while there.
Well, yes. But what I'm saying, Father, is soon you're going to have influence that you probably didn't realize you're going to have. These people are going to be looking at you for guidance. Some of them are. The other half are probably going to look at you as someone stopping them from what they want to do.
I don't intend to make any laws or keep...
But that's not what I'm saying, Father. You're not making laws, but you represent something greater than yourself. And what you represent could be a hindrance to some people here who already have power.
Well, we should try at the very least.
You're correct. And that's where what I'm going to say next comes into play. I think with the influence that you may soon find yourself having, I think that your word could carry a lot of weight. And I think that you should probably speak on behalf of having some form of law here. Because without law, Father, I'm sure you're well aware, it can quickly disrupt into chaos in places like this, where you can find the less than desirables have more power than they probably should have.
Well, we must reach out to them with open arms and open hearts and accept whatever flock we can as shepherds of this land.
Of course. I agree. Of course. You're right. You're correct. But you know that there's a purpose for the law, for those who represent it, especially where we just came from.
I do. But as you say, many of those in front of us might not see it. I'm willing to take whatever responsibilities or risks necessary, for that is my mission, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I was a lawman where I came from. Did I ever tell you that?
Well, I've heard, but I don't think we, as men of faith, have ever spoken on it. Is this something you are trying to take up the reins of again?
Originally, my intent was no. I just wanted to come here and have a farm with my son and start over. But not going to lie, Father, after what I heard at the house that we just came from, I think that maybe I might have to, or at least until something is figured out, until this area is annexed into the city, into the United States. But I'm going to need help with that.
He kind of nods, and you're looking around, and you notice your son Johan is with Sam Baker, and they're now kind of unburdened by the chuck wagon and the basically rolling cabinet that they had to mind in the past. But like you're looking out and you're just kind of seeing him and looking over like what's going to be his new home. And you look back and see Father Nos noticing it as well. And he starts to nod and says, "You are right. Without law and without order, I'm not sure how much of a life there'd be for your son and the sons and daughters of all the rest of our folk."
So then I can count on you to help me convince others that that position is needed. I can come to you when I need help.
You have my support for what it's worth, but I need to build my own faith base as it is, and I would appreciate your support on that as well.
Yes, yes. And one other thing, I turn my horse to like stop going forward to kind of like get closer to him. I don't know how to say this, Father. You're going to have to keep an eye out on the two that serve you in a town like this.
Well, they do not serve me. They, of course, serve the Lord, but I understand what you mean.
There are types in these towns that are undesirable, and the cloth doesn't mean anything to them.
He nods, and you basically ride on in silence for like many hours. And as you're passing through the camp town, you're basically noticing you're seeing dozens of men scurrying about, working, putting things together, cutting down trees, building homes, building what it looks like the skeleton of businesses, walking to and fro, fetching, carrying water. One of the things that you notice first is that there are very many men, but you don't really see many women among them.
That's what I was afraid of. I look at Sister Miller. I assume she's kind of in the same area, whatever. I slow my horse down. Sister.
Yes.
You're going to have to be careful in a town like this, to be frank, okay?
I've already told you, Mr. Hagman, nothing will happen.
I know, you can say that, but I'd feel more comfortable if you would either grab me or Gregory if you needed to go somewhere.
Of course, if I need to absolutely go somewhere, I will certainly come to you, Mr. Hagman. And with that, she kind of has her hand behind her and she's kind of crossing her fingers.
Jesus Christ. I just ride forward and continue the ride.
You see Sister Michael kind of smiling at you, Sister Margaret, as you said that. And she doesn't really say anything, but like you don't need a psychology roll to notice that she's reading it on something.
She'll just kind of turn and give her a light wink.
It's got to be Cthulhu controlling those ovaries, man, because Bjorn's a fucking ugly motherfucker. I don't think like it's like, you know.
Well, it's not when you only have so many options. You pick.
It's like a sausage fest here. There's like all these other dudes, and you got pox-marked big nose Jorn. You know what I mean? Just like
Accept it and move on. Your life beyond accept it.
So, Gregory, as you are driving your wagon forward, you're noticing like around that, well, the oxen that you brought in with you, they were very good and very strong and quite steady and most importantly, cheap. You notice that once you get here and set things up, you have a realization that you probably don't need oxen anymore.
Well, we suppose we could sell them off for a bit of money to one of the farmers nearby. People are always looking for a good plow animal.
What was that, dear? And your wife Samantha sitting next to you.
Just thinking about business and what exactly, what are we gonna, what do we need to buy? What do we need to sell?
I see. You're not selling Zeke, says your daughter Mary.
No, of course not Zeke.
Oh,
I was thinking more of the oxen. Since we're not gonna need them to plow the fields, and we've already arrived, so we won't really need the wagons that much longer.
I see.
And so he also he's like looking around. He sees also the large percentage of men and stuff. He just makes sure to turn to his family. It's like don't head out into town unless me or Mr. Hagman is with you. Okay, just until we make sure to let everyone know what the situation is.
But where should we go? Says Mark.
Yeah, I think I'll have to go talk to Hagman and see the others, see if we can have some kind of temporary camping site before we can start staking a claim to start building our house forge.
So the group of you kind of makes your way into the city. Is there a specific spot you're aiming for to park, or do you have any plans or things that you want to get into right away?
Yeah, I think once he's arrived, he's gonna want to at least, he's gonna first find a place to park the wagon and stuff. Then he wants to see if he can grab a horse or just brief temporarily, just so he can go visit his brother at the fort, just to let him know that they've arrived. See if he has any news for him.
You can take payday if you want.
Thank you, Mr. Hagman.
Yes. Can I say just one more thing out of character, like an epiphany I just had, like way ahead, just real quick. I look at I would like to trust Gregory and picking the logistics of where we're going to stay. You know what I mean? I like to build my house next to his, and maybe the church can be built by wherever Gregory builds his smith. He can really good at the logistics of the city. Margaret can focus on getting the information about the super, you know what I mean? The rumor, supernatural, just information broker. And I could work on this whole law, security, you know what I mean thing. What do you guys think about that?
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, my current game plan is to talk to the brother, see see what he knows about the local area, see if he knows any good spots.
For sure. I could picture Gregory being a future mayor of this city. That's all, you know what I mean? Do you agree with that, Sister Miller? That's a good, just before we go our own ways, do you think that's a good strategy, or do you have any input? Or
no, it's not.
I don't want to speak on your behalf. Yeah. I just don't want to assume that, go along. I think it's good. I see we're all forming a little influence, you know what I mean? Our own little bubble of influence there. So I like it. All right. I apologize. I just wanted to say that before I forgot. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, I'm having an idea.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm just wondering if you guys want to just split up now, or do you want to stay together until you figure something out? Or
I mean, he's going to go see his brother. I would like us to camp together. I like us to build our shit by each other. You know what I mean? And then if he goes talk to his brother, maybe I could escort Sister Miller if she wants to go talk to people or whatever, like she was saying. Next on stage at the Silver Dollar. By the way, Silver Dollar is a real fucking bar in Mandan. And it's a sleazy biker place, dude. Yeah, where my uncle used to play street dances there. He played in a band that would play there.
Yes, but in 1867, the Glasgow Silver Dollar is located on the eastern banks of the Missouri River.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, yeah.
Out of character, I don't know if that's true, but right now it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's just kind of, I loved how you said, oh shit, there's a real Silver Dollar. I got a lot of memories at that place as a kid and 21, but I won't go into it.
I think Margaret will kind of go find little Mary and take Zeke from her and use the dog as an excuse to go with Bjorn around and see if she can find someone to help him, because he did injure his paw during the last incident. But she will eventually, once they're established, she's definitely going to break free from Bjorn and do some, Scooby-Doo work on her own.
If you want to go do Scooby-Doo work on your own now, that's fine. I'm perfectly cool with that, because I can go do shit on my own. I don't want you to feel you know what I mean?
No, you can help me with the dog, because she's got to get a feeling for the town first.
For sure. Okay.
And then once she feels, quote unquote, in her own mind that she's totally fine and doesn't need anyone protecting her, then she's going to go get herself in trouble.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, cool. Good plan of action.
So could I actually get an idea roll from all three of you?
47 out of 75.
60 out of 45.
60 out of 80.
Well, Bjorn and Margaret, you recall that there was a horse livery mentioned at the Burgesses, which might be a decent place to, at least store the horses for a day until you figure out what you want to be going. And they might be able to take on your wagon as well. You also remember that the Burgesses mentioned that Boss Thompson might know a few things about animal medicine, since he worked with a lot of horses. You would also know, Gregory, that Fort Lincoln is about a half day's ride away from town center.
Oh, it's gotta move fast. Okay, so how about we do Hagman and Mr. Miller's first, then we do Gregory's.
Sure. Gregory, are you going to leave your family in town, or are you going to just kind of ride out without them, or are you taking them with?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave them behind just for now, just so it'll be faster for him. Just zip zop back in and out.
And I can help keep an eye on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the father Nas.
Ask Bjorn and Johan to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Plus, if you took payday or something for a ride, that'll save at least a half day of, or probably full day of boarding them.
Exactly. Yeah. So just sort of
pinch those pennies.
Penny saved, penny earned, baby.
All right. So after a quick farewell, Gregory heads out to probably in a westerning direction, and you're able to basically get directions by asking around where the cavalry fort is, and people just kind of keep pointing west, and then you kind of have the idea that you'll find it eventually. Bjorn and Margaret, you guys arrive at the horse livery, and you're minus a horse, but there's still oxen in a wagon. There's the 2 mules from the missionary wagon and various other horses to put up. So you're able to arrange that with Boss Thompson. He charges you, you know what, it doesn't matter what he charges you. He charges you an insignificant amount of money to put up the horses for the day, but in time it would add up.
Yeah, hopefully once we start getting situated, we won't need to keep doing that, you know?
Yeah, that's the idea. But there's hay and oats, and they'll even brush off the animals for a bit, and there's a corral with a few other horses and ponies in there. Many of them like just sturdy animals meant for crossing slowly, and then there's a few like larger pintos. So
nice.
Scenes on you.
So Miss Miller, I'm just here to help you. I just like motioning the dog.
So Margaret will have scooped up the dog. Did we ever determine how large this dog was?
More than 30 pounds, less than 50.
Okay, so Margaret's going to attempt to pick up the dog and then determine he's a little too heavy and look at Bjorn and say, would you mind carrying him? I am so sorry. I think, he weighs almost as much as I do. He may as well be a horse for me. And he's limping. I'd rather him not injure himself further.
Oh, yes, the Norwegian trail sniffer for the Norwegian, yes. And I just pick up the dog and just start walking.
Yeah, little Mary Smith is following you because it's basically her dog.
Mary, stay with your mother. We got this. Don't worry. We'll take care of it, okay? We're going to go where it's really busy.
But I want Zeke to be okay.
She'll be okay. Trust me. I'll make sure. I'm a Norwegian. He's a Norwegian dog. I'll make sure he's okay.
Oh, okay. Don't let anything bad happen to Zeke.
I won't. I promise you, little lady. And I just pat her on the head.
Don't worry. We've got him safe and sound. The whole point is to get his foot fixed up, so he'll be right as rain in no time. Just go with your mom. We don't really know these people quite yet, and she may need help now that your father's gone.
Okay. Thanks, Aunt Margaret.
Of course, darling. And once she's off, she's going to walk with Bjorn, kind of be low-key impressed that he's just carrying this 40-pound dog. And she's going to look at her feet as she walks just to show respect, in case people are watching her since they're the new people in town. And she's going to say, I'm hoping that this man can at least fix Zeke's leg. I'm not really sure how he got injured last time. Do you know? Do you think it was when the cow fell on Mary?
I would assume so, or I don't. And he just stops and he just doesn't want to say the thoughts come into his head.
I think we're on the same page when it comes to that, Mr. Hagman, which I think is an excellent idea that we did pick up this dog when we did. He can at least alert us when something is amiss. At the very least, if we can outrun the dog, and she just kind of nods.
That's not very Christian-like.
God put us here to have dominion over the animals, and as cute as he is and as wonderful as he is, if it's that dog's life of my own, I'm afraid I'm going to have to choose my own.
That's a good call, I'd say. While I have you here, we're walking to the stable. I talked to Father Nos. Listen, sister, you realize there's a purpose for law, right?
Yes, of course.
And you realize there's a purpose for religion, right?
Absolutely.
And I tried to explain this to Father Nos, but I don't think he quite grasped what I was trying to say. You know that you and him and Sister Michael, you are going to have a lot of people yearning for what you do, right?
One can only hope.
And that means that you're going to have influence in the city soon, like Gregory will, being the only blacksmith.
And she nods and says, fingers crossed to that, from your mouth to God's ears.
Well, sister, I have a favor to ask, and I asked this of the father, but I don't think he was understanding quite what I was saying. I desperately feel that there needs to be a presence, some sort of authority or law here to keep things protected, like we talked about before. I'm choosing my words carefully as I assume people are walking past us.
Well, of course, I was absolutely shocked and gobsmacked to find out that there are no doctors, no lawmen, and no clergy. We definitely need law here.
Exactly. So, with this influence that you and Father Nos and Sister Michael will have, I ask maybe you can hopefully persuade people to the importance of law and having a lawman.
Well, certainly. We do like order, and if people don't follow order and they don't follow civil law, then we can't have a godly society now, can we?
Yes, but that leads to the second problem. This individual who owns that silver dollar, the Mr. Greer, they say he provides his own protection. You aware of what usually people like that mean when they say protection, sister?
And she kind of looks up at him and shakes her head innocently. I don't know what that means.
And he thinks for a second as he's walking with the dog, and he's like, so this man, Mr. Greer, I'm willing to bet, has probably a lot of muscle, a lot of people working for him, right?
Yes.
And if he was, maybe if he was a man of ill repute, he'd probably tell people that if they paid him, he would protect them from something bad happening to them. And if they didn't pay, these same people that worked for Mr. Greer would most likely cause bad things to happen.
Oh, I see what you mean, like an unsavory type of gentleman.
It's called extortion in legal terms.
I'm sorry, I don't know much about the law, but I do think I follow what you're saying. Do as I say, if not, I take matters into my own hands, sort of thing.
Yes. So you may hear some pushback from people saying, well, we already have protection. Mr. Greer protects it. What I'm willing to bet, and of course, Mr. Greer could be a totally opposite man than I picture him, but through my experiences being a lawman in my home country, I very much doubt people are going to push back and say there's already protection, and there isn't, because the law should be impartial. The law should be fair and balanced. Justice is blind. That's something that I've read in your law books of this country.
Well, don't you worry, Mr. Hagman. If anybody asks or if anybody comes to us for aid, we'll always say that you have our backs, and you honestly have since the very first day we met you, and throughout this terrible travel that we've been through. You have been our guardian angel.
Well, I wouldn't quite say it like that, but thank you. But listen, I didn't want to be a lawman when I came here. I hope you know that. I just wanted to farm with my son. But after what we all witnessed, and if we really want to protect our families, do you understand why I'm making these decisions, right?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I just think it's your gift from God to be a man of the law, and it's your calling, which you can't ignore. I'm sure you wanted to be a farmer, but this is God's greater purpose for you, and I support it.
And you see for a moment, you see his eyes get a little watery for a second when you say that, and then he just looks forward and he keeps walking as if to abruptly stop the discussion,
She'll very gently reach out and give him, she'll go to give him a rub on the back, but then catch herself and then just give him a stern double pat, like there, it's fine. And then she'll keep walking, heading to the stables.
Margaret, can you make me a spot hidden check as you're walking through the streets?
I got a 39 out of 30, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, you have been making a point of staring at your feet as you're walking so as not to look suspicious. But that doesn't take you, the two of you, long to find Boss Thompson again once you have gotten some of the necessities off the wagon and you got Gregory set up on payday. But he's around, and he looks to be just brushing down one of the ponies from that was stabled in the livery.
So Margaret will approach first, but kind of elbow Bjorn since he's the man and he should be the first point of contact.
I look at her for a second confused because, Europe things are probably done a little differently. And I'm just like, hey, sir. And I just try to, speak. Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, boss. What can I do for you? And he continues to brush the pony.
Sister Miller here has a question about a dog here. And I motion with the dog. Go ahead now. And I just tell her under her breath.
Hello, my name is Margaret Miller, and she's stuttering a little. She's very nervous. I was directed here by Sir Bill Burgess and his wife Mary Burgess outside of town. He mentioned that you took care of animals. You did husbandry work, and I'm sorry to trouble you, but this here is the family dog with our caravan, and he's injured his paw. He's been limping for quite a ways. I was wondering if perhaps you knew anything about canines or could direct us to anybody who could assist us, maybe mending his paw.
And as he stands up, because he's kind of crouched over to brush the pony, kind of stands up, and you realize that he's a very big guy. And he says, "I could take a look. Can you pay?"
Yeah, we could pay. Yeah.
Yes, we certainly can. Of course, I'd never ask you to do it for free. Mr. Hagman, will you please hand him Zeke?
I kind of like hand him over.
All right. Let me just roll real quick. Okay, 14. Yeah, he passes his medicine roll. Yeah, it looks like lower sprain, front right paw.
So there's no broken then?
Well, it might if he keeps walking around on that. Hold on for a minute. And he starts muffling around like this big box that's in the corner of the livery and pulls out, it looks to be like a well-used but clean bandage. Margaret, you've probably seen like thousands of such bandages during your time in the war. And he brings it over and starts to wrap the bandage around the paw and basically says, don't let him run.
Oh, thank you. And she kind of looks a little let down. I mean, this is something that she could have done herself. She thought maybe he would have more expertise or, would have looked into it a little further. She kind of watches him wrap the foot and then just raises her eyebrows and says, well, thank you for your assistance. What do we owe you?
Nickel.
All right. And then she kind of looks at a little satchel that she's got on her hip. She rummages through it and hands him a nickel for his work, even though it was hardly worth that.
And to be fair, you do see that the dog's kind of like walking around and testing the new constraint that's been putting on its leg, and it is keeping him from moving as fast as he was trying to move earlier, but you do notice that he's not wincing in pain nearly as much. So, I mean, it was a simple fix. It just no one probably knew to do it. Because to be fair, Margaret, your expertise is mostly human.
So she double checks Zeke to make sure he's doing all right, and then kind of nudges Bjorn to see if he has anything that he would like to ask this man, since presumably he's going to be keeping his horse here.
I just kind of stopped for a second. I'm like looking at her because I thought she was going to like want to talk to people. I look up. I'm like, how long have you been here, Mr. Thompson?
About a year. Most people in town are fairly new.
How do you like it here?
It's pretty good. I mean, again, I haven't been along much to realize anything different, but it's quiet. People
You're left alone?
Yeah, people leave me alone. Get paid for my services. People don't pay me. I just keep their horse, and eventually I get paid. I pay into the same system as everyone around here, and things are good.
Pay into a system? What's that?
The lease.
The lease? Who's the lease with?
And he kind of points down the road, and you see one of the few completed wooden structures in the area. It's kind of like a big 2-story building, and it's notable for actually being made out of wood and having siding on it. And there's actually glass in some of the windows, and you see like a small other building, like a much smaller building next to it.
I'll look at it. And was I aware that there'd be a lease here for business people to pay? Or, I mean, I assume there was, right?
Well, you did make your law roll earlier.
Yeah.
And too, so you know about the whole who does own this land legal loophole.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I just kind of nod. I assume that we'll have to be going there sooner or later. I look at Margaret Miller. I don't think they're going to make you pay. I'd hope not.
Well, that's something I really hope Father Knows figures out ahead of time, because, well, I do have a nickel for little Zeke. I certainly don't think I could afford rent.
Yeah, you got that vow of poverty and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, sir. And I just like stick out my hand.
He considers it and then kind of wipes his own hand off and takes it and squeezes it. And you're not a small man, but his big old meat hooks are making your hands seem quite small.
Yeah, I try not to like wince. You know what I mean? I feel my knuckles that get like crushed together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like kind of crushing your hand, but it just like you feel like if you wanted to, you probably could.
Real quick, who's in that building now? Who holds the lease?
Oh, that the Jew from the Land of Say office is there, but then he points to the larger building, and there's the silver dollar, but. Papers kept in the small one, business done in the big one. In fact, pretty much all business is done in the saloon these days.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I just kind of look down at Margaret Miller side-eyed, and then I just walk out.
All right. So Gregory, it's been a while since you've ridden a horse. You've been driving wagon this whole time, and you have some idea where to go. You ask around, and people just pointed the way towards west and told you of a place where you can cross the Missouri at a Missouri crossing, and it says that you get to the other side and ride out for a few hours, and you should be able to see Fort Lincoln. Big wooden structure, typical of most of the military forts that you have seen.
All right, so do I see has it seen I guess other arrows embedded in the thing, or bullet holes, any sign of damage?
Well, as you approach the fort, you can make me a spot hidden if you like.
All right, we'll do 65 out of 40. No, I see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it might be hard, and I mean, as a soldier yourself, at some point you probably know that if something's damaged, you should at least try to fix it. Otherwise, it might indicate a weakness, and they might try to attack it again. So that seems like what they do. But you approach on the horse for a bit, and you are challenged at the gate. Halt! Who goes there?
Gregory Smith. I'm here to see my brother, Georgie.
The man nods at you. Can you make me an app roll, actually? Or sorry, a credit rating roll.
Credit rating, okay. 37 out of 40. I just made it.
Alrighty. Again, make sure everyone you're checking your skills as you make them. He nods, and you see his head go underneath the wall for a bit, and says, "All right, you can come in." And you see another person through the holes in the fencing trying to open up the gate, and you are let in. It's a pretty tall fort. There's a tall 10-foot fence with sharpened points at the end of the stakes, and there appears to be some sort of command tower. There's a basin for horses to be watered and a few posts to hitch them at. But yeah, you see a few men walking around wearing U.S. cavalry uniforms, and a lot of them are taking care of horses or cooking beans or just kind of milling about.
All right, so am I being led anywhere, or am I just supposed to sort of find my own way?
No, yeah, you made your credit rating roll, so they're just kind of unconcerned about you causing trouble, it seems to you. So, yeah.
So I start asking around. Have you seen? I forget what his rank is, but have you seen Georgie Smith around here? You're muted. I can't hear you.
Smith, you say? Yeah, he's out on patrol.
Oh, how long is he going to be out on patrol?
Oh, he should be back before dark. Why don't you make yourself cozy by the fire and get your horse some water over there.
All right, thank you. I'll do just that. How do you guys do this every single day? My God, he must sort of massage his rear because of all the saddle sores he's started to accumulate.
Yeah, you've only been doing it for a few hours, but it's much different than sitting on a bench.
Not neither one's that comfortable, but at least you get used to them.
Yeah.
If you like the style and feel of Missouri Crossing, then you'll like Deluded. Set in 1848, Deluded follows a coterie who have set themselves to find out who is behind a mysterious tonic that plagues the kindred society of Victorian England.